Module Overview. This module offers an exhaustive exploration of one of the fundamental pillars of constitutional governance, the structure of government through the doctrines of separation of powers and checks and balances. It examines how constitutional frameworks distribute governmental authority among different branches to prevent concentration of power, avoid tyranny, and ensure accountable, transparent governance. You will gain an extensive understanding of the legislative, executive, and judicial branches, their distinct roles, and the intricate system of mutual oversight designed to maintain equilibrium within government. This module also addresses practical challenges and theoretical debates surrounding the effectiveness and limitations of these doctrines in various constitutional systems. 1. The Doctrine of Separation of Powers. Concept and Origins. Definition and Purpose. Separation of powers is the constitutional principle that divides government responsibilities among distinct branches to limit any one branch from exercising the core functions of another. Its purpose is to prevent abuse of power and protect liberty. Historical origins. Rooted in Enlightenment political thought, particularly the work of Montesquieu, who articulated the necessity of dividing political power among legislative, executive, and judicial branches to preserve freedom. Philosophical underpinnings. Emphasizes liberty, accountability, and prevention of tyranny through institutional. 2. The three branches of government. Roles and powers. Legislative branch, responsible for lawmaking. Its powers include drafting, debating, and enacting legislation, controlling budgets, and oversight of the executive. Various forms of legislatures, unicameral, bicameral, and representative systems are examined. Executive branch, charged with implementing and enforcing laws, explores the roles of heads of state, heads of government, ministers, and public administration. Examines executive prerogatives, powers, and limits. Judicial branch, interprets laws and adjudicates disputes. Discusses the structure of courts, judicial independence, and the judiciary's role in safeguarding constitutionalism through judicial review. 3. Checks and balances. Mechanisms of mutual control. Concept and function. Checks and balances refer to the system where each branch has specific powers to limit or check the actions of the others, ensuring no single branch becomes supreme. Examples of checks. Legislative oversight of the executive through budget approval, impeachment powers, and confirmation hearings. Executive veto power over legislation and appointment of judges. Judicial review of legislative and executive actions to ensure constitutionality. Balance of power. Analysis of how these checks create a dynamic tension designed to foster cooperation, prevent abuses, and maintain government efficiency. 4 variations in constitutional systems. Presidential systems. Clear separation between executive and legislature, e.g., USA. Examines fixed terms, distinct elections, and independent executive authority. Parliamentary systems. Fusion of executive and legislative branches, with the executive drawn from the legislature, e.g., UK. Discusses the Prime Minister's dual role and parliamentary sovereignty. Hybrid and semi-presidential systems. Blends features of presidential and parliamentary models, e.g., France, analyzing complexities in power sharing and checks. Federal versus unitary systems. Explores how separation of powers interacts with territorial distribution of authority in federal constitutions versus centralized unitary states. 5. Judicial independence and accountability. Importance of judicial independence. Examines safeguards such as security of tenure, financial independence, and impartial appointment processes to prevent political interference. Judicial accountability. Mechanisms for holding judges responsible without compromising independence. Role of courts in balancing powers. Courts as arbiters in conflicts between branches, ensuring adherence to constitutional limits. Practical challenges and contemporary debates. Executive overreach. Risks of executives accumulating excessive power, especially in emergencies or weak institutional contexts. Legislative gridlock. when checks lead to paralysis or inefficiency in governance. Judicial activism versus restraint, debates over courts' roles in policymaking and constitutional interpretation. Impact of political culture and practices, how informal norms and political behavior affect formal constitutional structures. Practical case studies and illustrations. The U.S. system of separation of powers and notable examples, such as presidential vetoes, congressional investigations, and Supreme Court rulings. The British parliamentary model's fusion of powers and the role of conventions. The French semi-presidential system and power struggles between president and prime minister. Examples of judicial independence challenges in various countries. Learning outcomes for Module 2. By the end of this module, you will be able to explain the doctrine of separation of powers and its historical and philosophical foundations. Identify the roles, functions, and powers of the legislative, executive, and judicial branches. Describe how checks and balances operate to maintain government accountability and prevent abuse. Analyze differences among presidential, parliamentary, and hybrid constitutional systems. Understand the importance of judicial independence and the mechanisms supporting it. Critically evaluate contemporary challenges in maintaining separation of powers and checks and balances.